Coming up on Sunrise, an officer-involved shooting in the Bay Area ends with both the suspect and officer in the hospital. We have the details. Plus,
so much loss has plagued Central Texas, but could this tragedy have been prevented? I'm Michaela Chavez in Kerrville. The area hit the hardest. I'll share what some are saying.
I'm Ana Conejo in Corpus Christi talking to a woman who spent 13 summers at Camp Mystic. She tells me how the devastating floods in Central Texas hits home for her.
Good Taco Tuesday morning, everyone. You are watching KRIS 6 Sunrise. We're waking up with the Hoffmans today. I'm Brian Hoffman.
And I'm Michelle Hoffman. We also have meteorologist Julia Quady, who's standing by with a look at our traffic this morning. Good morning, Julia.
Hey there, good morning, you guys. So things are looking to be pretty clear for our traffic flow this morning. Things are off to a dry note here in the coastal bend, but we can expect some shower activity to make its way into the area throughout some areas later on this morning and certainly by this afternoon, especially with the help of that sea breeze. Right now, though, again, things are off to a dry note and pretty clear with those roadways right now. Let's go ahead and take a look. Heading from Ocean Drive, you can see things are moving pretty clear, all shades of green on that roadway as well as on SPID and heading on Saratoga. So no traffic issues heading out the door right now if you're heading on either of those three roadways this morning. Moving now on over to Flower Bluff, got a little bit some areas where you're seeing a little bit of slowdowns throughout portions of some roadways here. Waldron Road, just a small snag of a median speed that you might encounter throughout one direction. Same thing on Flower Bluff Drive. You got a little bit more congestion happening as you start to approach the gate at NAS Corpus Christi. You're going to start to see a bit of a medium, then gradually to a slower speed as you get a little bit closer to the gate. And then moving on over towards the JFK Causeway, going to and from the island, looking at pretty clear and easy driving conditions heading to and from the island right now, thankfully. Now, again, on that forecast, things are expected to heat up and get very hazy out there with our next round of Saharan dust coming in tomorrow. More details on that, as well as our rain chances today coming up in my full forecast.
Julia, thank you for that. Corpus Christi police officer and alleged suspect are in the hospital after a shooting at a Bay Area apartment complex. The shooting happened around 11 p.m. outside the villas of Ocean Drive Apartments. That's, of course, near Ocean Drive and Airline. When officers made contact with the alleged suspect, he began shooting from his front door. He then moved into the hallway and continued shooting, hitting one of the officers in the leg. The other officer on scene fired back, shooting the alleged suspect. Both the officer and that suspect suffered non-life-threatening injuries. And once the suspect is released from the hospital, he will remain in police custody.
The search for dozens of missing people in Central Texas continues after devastating flash floods. Governor Greg Abbott says more than 20 agencies are responding, and the death toll is increasing. But so are the stories of heroic rescues. Amy Kiley reports on just some of the many people who helped save lives.
I've lost two friends. We loved them. It's kind of frustrating to get one answer that. And they're gone.
More than 100 people are dead after catastrophic floods in Central Texas. But that number would be higher without heroic rescuers. One is a father who died saving his daughter.
Joel held on to him and prayed over his family and did his very best to hang on as long as he could.
The owner of this devastated RV park recalls banging on doors and helping residents through the water. She says her husband nearly died in the river.
My husband kept yelling at him, throw your baby at me. And at that point, a big wave came by and they both got swept away.
Some survivors from camps along the river praise their counselors for thinking quickly.
They moved the boys from their lower bunks to then the upper bunk and then ultimately hoisted them up into the rafters.
Camp Mystic is where more than 24 children and counselors died. One Coast Guard swimmer says he gave up his spot in a helicopter to fit more children on board. It's fresh like spring. Now he's credited with helping save 165 children rescued from the camp.
I've never seen anything this tragic in my life.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
I'm Ana Conejo in Corpus Christi talking to a woman who spent 13 summers at Camp Mystic. She tells me how the devastating floods in Central Texas hits home for her.
Dabney Pettis, born and raised in Corpus Christi, is heartbroken after Mystic Camp has been destroyed and floods led to a death toll of more than 20 campers. She gives credit to the camp for shaping her into the person she is today. She has high hopes the camp and the community will come back better than ever.
And of course, for more information on how you can help flood victims in Central Texas, just scan that QR code you see on the screen or go to our website. That's KRISTV.com. Well, back here at home, the northbound lanes of the new Harbor Bridge will open up today, starting this morning. Drivers heading northbound on 286 from Interstate 37 to Portland will be switched on to the new Harbor Bridge 181 northbound lanes.
Yeah, and if you need to use the northbound lanes on the Harbor Bridge this morning, we have you covered on the new routes. Heading southbound on IH 37, that will take a new direct connector to access northbound US 181. And if you're heading northbound on SH 286, that will continue straight for northbound 181 to Portland.
And if you're leaving the Bayfront area northbound 181, follow signs to the exit ramp from IH 37 from northbound 181 Frontage Road. And if you're leaving the Bayfront area to southbound 286, follow signs to the exit ramp from IH 37 to the loop ramp for southbound SH 287. There's going to be a bunch of signs though, folks. It's going to take some getting used to, but we'll get there. Drivers are asked to proceed slowly in the area.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Heading out the door, things are going to be off towards a muggy start and a little bit less cloud cover compared to yesterday. But today, in fact, is going to be our last chance to see some showers in the forecast this week before that next round of Saharan dust arrives in the area tomorrow, causing a big issue with some widespread haze. Of course, it's going to cause an issue as well as it relates towards our air quality. And we'll also see warmer and above average temperatures as a cause of that as well as look ahead towards the second half of our work week. Right now, let's go and take a look at our current conditions across the area. Corpus Christi waking up to a temperature of 78 degrees, 78 as well over in Beeville. 83 degrees is your temperature right now over in Port Aransas and Rockport, and 80 degrees right now over in Alice. A little bit faster wind speeds that we're waking up to this morning compared to yesterday on Monday. We're seeing that wind clocking around 10 to 11 miles an hour, a little bit faster for our coastal neighborhood. 14 miles an hour winds being clocked over in the Bluff. Overall, can see perfectly even and decent enough visibility across the area. Thankfully, minus Beeville having less than around 5 miles of visibility right now heading out the door. And then that things are going to be pretty calm in our forecast today. Can see a couple straight isolated showers coming in as early as this morning, then another round ahead for us by this afternoon. So around 9, 10 o'clock, could potentially see some isolated showers, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder with some heavier downpours possible throughout some neighborhoods as that shower activity begins to move its way in to the area. We'll see our temperatures also increase, getting towards those upper 80s, eventually those low 90s as we get towards this afternoon as well. Looking at a forecast high temperature of 93 degrees here in Corpus Christi. Eventually going to see some mostly sunny skies by our later hours this morning and certainly by this afternoon. Again, straight isolated showers will be possible in the forecast with that added dose of moisture currently in place. And then with the help of that sea breeze, kicking up some of that shower activity by this afternoon. Heat risk is still going to be an issue for us. We're still going to see that range of our feel like temperatures in those upper 90s to lower 100s. So anywhere between that minor to moderate risk for heat danger in the forecast, minor risk more so for inland neighborhoods, more of an elevated to moderate risk in the forecast for areas that are along the coast this afternoon. Now looking at Future Tracker, this is how one model is depicting how these showers could potentially move on through. A couple passing showers throughout southern neighborhoods later on this morning. By 10 o'clock, a little bit more isolated fashion across southern and northern portions and counties here in the coastal bend. A couple heavy downpours will be possible in areas like Refugio and B counties there, and then we'll see our rain event potentially end for us as look ahead towards our evening hours, all of us drying out by that point. And then we'll be looking at drier conditions, especially with that Saharan dust moving on in by tomorrow, giving us some mostly sunny skies and above average temperatures reaching those upper 90s.
Thank you so much, Julia. President Trump has announced new tariff rates on South Korea and Japan. Coming up after the break, Scripps News Group Joe St. George will join us from Washington for the very latest. Welcome back, folks. President Trump has begun rolling out new tariff rates for countries around the world.
Yes, for more on this Scripps News Group, Joe St. George joins us live now this morning. And Joe, yesterday he announced new tariff rates for South Korea and Japan. Why is the president doing this, and how are the countries responding?
Yeah, north of a dozen countries got new tariff rates yesterday. Thailand was hit with a 36% tariff rate. Japan and South Korea, 25% tariff rates. both effective August 1st. Now, what is it, July 8th? August 1st is an eternity in American politics, and President Trump, as he's shown in recent months, views these tariffs as negotiable. And he said last night that if countries come to him between now and August 1st, better deal, better terms, that he would be open to lowering these rates. But this is noteworthy, and we're watching it because of the possible impact on your wallet and on the American economy. The markets slipped yesterday, in part because of the president's announcements. He's rolling these out on social media, publishing the letters that he's writing to world leaders about the new rates. Again, effective August 1st. The White House is doing this because they believe there is trade imbalances with countries all over the world. The president is also fond of his current position. Yes, the market slipped yesterday, but the market slipped in the spring, and they eventually recovered all of those losses. So there is the sense that, yes, there may be some temporary pain in the markets, but ultimately the markets will head in one direction here. The White House also loves the amount of tariff revenue coming in. In June, the country set a record for the amount of tariff revenue flowing into the U.S. Treasury. That helps pay off the debt, the deficit, helps pay for that one big beautiful bill that became law last week. We're expecting more announcements from President Trump today, this week. The big one, I think, involves Europe. What does this mean for wine, for cheese, for cars? We know that we know that South Korea and Japan are not retaliating yet. The president has threatened to increase tariffs on any country that retaliates against them. As South Korean leaders, Japanese leaders have told reporters in their countries, they believe they can still negotiate these tariffs down. But keep an eye on electronics. Keep an eye on Toyotas and Hondas. Again, the U.S. imports a lot of goods, especially electronics, from Japan and South Korea. We'll be watching to see if there's any price increases on those goods in the coming weeks in the lead up to those August 1st tariffs, guys.
Yeah, Joe, thanks for the heads up.
I appreciate your insights, sir. Looking forward to talking again soon.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Things are going to be off towards a bit of a partly cloudy start for us here in the coastal bend, eventually seeing some sunshine and a couple straight to isolated showers throughout parts of the morning and heading towards this afternoon. Certainly by this afternoon, with the help of that sea breeze, maybe a couple heavier downpours possible throughout some northern neighborhoods and counties in the coastal bend. But today's going to be our last day to see some rain in the forecast for at least throughout the remainder of our work week, as drier air is going to be arriving tomorrow with that next round of Saharan dust. It's going to also offer us a bit of an issue with our air quality and higher temperatures towards the end of this week as well. Right now, let's go and take a look at our view from our Snoopy's Pier Sky Cam, sponsored by CCAC, making out hints of that sunrise just beginning over beyond the JFK Causeway there. But again, a lot of cloud cover out there right now, some partly cloudy or maybe even mostly cloudy skies throughout some portions here in the coastal bend to start us out on this Tuesday morning. Looking at our temperatures, things are going to be off towards a muggy start, as it's pretty much every morning here for areas that are along the coast, seeing those temperatures reaching towards those lower 80s already. Feel like temperatures approaching those lower 90s right now at this hour over in the Bluff and over in Port Aransas as well. Here in Corpus Christi sitting at 78 degrees, 77 over in Robstown, 76 right now for your temperature over in Alice. Looking at how our heat's going to progress over the course of our day, we'll see those temperatures reaching towards those upper 80s by 1 o'clock this afternoon, and certainly by 2 and 3 o'clock this afternoon, seeing those temperatures reaching towards those lower 90s, eventually hitting our afternoon high temperature nearby 93 degrees. Also can see those feel like temperatures will continue to range towards those triple digits as well. So you still want to make sure you're exercising some caution, especially if you're a little bit more sensitive to that heat and humidity that's going to be out there, especially with those rounds of stray to isolated showers in the forecast. You can definitely expect that moisture and humidity to really be heavy and thick at times. But again, going to see that forecast high temperature of 93 degrees here in Corpus Christi. Eventually see some sunshine after those showers pass on through, and between those breaks and periods of that shower activity throughout some areas here in the coastal bend as well. Looking at our winds, starting off with some light calm winds here in Corpus Christi. Eventually see those winds picking up to around 13, 14, maybe topping out nearby 15 miles an hour by this afternoon before things decrease as we head towards the evening. But it's those winds coming from the southeast that's what's going to offer that sea breeze to help those showers potentially pick up over our coastal waters and over the Gulf, eventually making their way here in the coastal bend. So again, by 8, 9 9 o'clock. A couple passing showers coming on in beginning in southern counties and passing their way further up north in Refugio and B counties around the afternoon. That's when we'll see the potential to see a little bit more heavier to moderate rainfall that's going to be passing through areas like Refugio and B counties. That's going to continue throughout our afternoon, becoming a bit more widespread, passing throughout inland portions and the coastal bend a little bit in a stray nature as well. Then our shower activity is going to wrap up as we head towards this evening, and that's going to be it for some rainfall in the forecast, at least throughout the remainder of our work week. We'll see that Saharan dust arriving tomorrow, giving us dry conditions in the forecast, giving us some more sunshine and warmer temperatures reaching towards those upper 90s.
A 3-year wait. I'm Melissa Trevino in Alice, talking with the families of 2 young women killed on 5th Street during the summer of 2022. I'll tell you where the case stands.
This is Veterans in Focus, sponsored by the Heil Law Firm, battling for justice, winning for the community.
Through Veterans in Focus, we've introduced you to some powerful programs helping veterans heal, connect, and thrive. From the calm of kayaking to the strength found on horseback and even the joy of beachside gatherings. But today we're stepping into the heat, literally. We're diving into the art of knife making, an intense hands-on experience offered through a program called Forging Resilience.
It's all inclusive. Just bring a toothbrush and some stuff you don't mind getting dirty.
Now, Brett Robinson also tells me Forging Resilience could help veterans build strength from the inside out. Tonight at 6, we'll show you who is qualified to participate in this program.
And now taking a look outside of our view from our first Community Bank Skycam atop the USS Lexington, we see things are looking pretty clear heading to the Old Harbor Bridge going northbound. Not too much of any heavy traffic flow at the moment, so we have that to be thankful for getting your morning started on this Tuesday. Let's go and take a look at those traffic flow maps to get a better idea we can expect on other roadways across the area. Right now, moving now towards downtown, things are looking pretty decent on Orchard Drive. There's a little bit of a slowdown that you might experience throughout one portion here, but all clear on SPID and on Saratoga, and those 2 roadways, all shades of green there, noting that traffic is moving well. Heading on over towards Flower Bluff, a little bit slow down throughout one portion of Waldron Road, all clear on Flower Bluff Drive, and got some improvement when you start to approach the gate at NAS Corpus Christi. Only now going to see a bit of a median speed, so not quite as heavy congestion as we saw over the past few minutes. Then heading on to the JFK Causeway, going to and from the island, again looking at easy driving conditions heading out the door on your Tuesday morning. That's it for your traffic report. Details in your forecast coming up.
So much loss has plagued Central Texas, but could this tragedy have been prevented? I'm Michaela Chavez in Kerrville. The area hit the hardest. I'll share what some are saying.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Right now taking a look outside of our CC Skycam over Snoopy's Pier. You can see some hints of that sunrise off beyond the JFK Causeway. You can see a little bit some partly cloudy skies that's starting us out on this Tuesday morning as well. Shower activity is potentially in the forecast today throughout parts of this morning and heading towards the afternoon, certainly with the help of that sea breeze. But today's going to be our last day to get rain in the forecast before things dry out massively beginning tomorrow with that next round of Saharan dust. That's going to give us a big hit in terms of our air quality dropping a bit beginning tomorrow and then extending throughout the remainder of our work week. And we'll also see, related towards that drier air in place, a hefty warm up in our temperatures going towards those upper 90s by the end of this week. So let's go ahead and get into that. Right now, taking a look at our current temperatures where things are off towards a bit of a moderate start. Here in Corpus Christi, waking up to 78 degrees, 82 over in the Bluff, 83 right now in Port Aransas. Pretty much all along the coast, those temperatures sitting towards those lower 80s. Going further inland, can see those temperatures going to sit a little bit closer towards those upper 70s this morning. Taking a look at Doppler radar, we can see a couple passing showers already beginning throughout some portions, or southern portions here in the coastal bend, just now approaching parts of Claiborne County. Again, stray showers in nature at this point. We also saw some shower activity earlier this morning pass on through the Sea Drift area as well. Across the coastal bend, we'll get a better opportunity to see some shower activity later on this morning, and certainly again by this afternoon with the help of that afternoon sea breeze. So we'll see again shower activity throughout maybe 8, 9, or 10 o'clock this morning. Maybe a bit of a pause and intermission of that shower activity before we begin again heading towards the afternoon with those faster wind speeds pushing in with that sea breeze with those showers bit more isolated, maybe scattered, especially for inland neighborhoods and northern neighborhoods like Refugio and B County. And we'll see again those temperatures increasing towards those lower 90s, eventually hitting our afternoon high temperature of 93 degrees here in Corpus Christi. Looking at our rain chances over the next 24 hours, again, shower activity will be a little bit more likely for areas that are along the coast this morning, and then heading towards this afternoon, better rain chances ahead for northern neighborhoods like B and Refugio counties, maybe seeing even isolated to scattered shower potential in the forecast around that time frame. But all of us will see a diminishing and a decrease in our shower activity as we head towards our evening hours, and that's going to be pretty much it. Our shower activity will be pretty much gone here in the coastal bend, and shower chances or rain chances of that matter will be out of the forecast throughout the remainder of our work week because of drier air that's going to settle into the forecast from the next round of Saharan dust. Speaking of which, we can see that plume that's going to approach us here in South Texas tomorrow afternoon. The same plume is just going to kind of rotate around South Texas and eventually clear out by Friday to Saturday. And we'll see again a bit of an improvement in our air quality after that Saharan dust moves on through. But for now, looking ahead towards tomorrow with the arrival of that Saharan dust, we'll see a bit of a bump down towards our air quality, towards that yellow zone tomorrow, Thursday, and on your Friday. So folks who might be a bit more sensitive to that Saharan dust, make sure you're practicing some caution as it relates to that lingering poor air quality that's going to be in the forecast beginning tomorrow. But also related towards that Saharan dust coming on in, we'll see a warm in our temperatures going above average towards those upper 90s towards the end of this week with mostly sunny skies. Of course, no moisture in the air, so it's going to kind of take away any cloud cover in our forecast throughout the next few days after that Saharan dust arrives. Thursday going to be our haziest day of the week with more of that dust beginning to dissipate again on your Friday, clearing out by the early start of your weekend. So right now, today, going to be our showers coming on through, our last day to get those rainy opportunities, then clearing on out with more sunshine, hazy conditions, and warmer temperatures.
President Trump's new mega bill means no taxes on tips for some workers. I'm Avajoy Burnett. Coming up, who that applies to and why it might not help the workers who need a tax break the most.
Now, say hello to your neighbors. This is your KRIS 6 News Sunrise Shoutouts.
Good morning. We are New Century Hospice, and we are wishing our Coastal Bend neighbors a good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, New Century Hospice, a great group of people there. We hope you guys also have a great day as well. And folks, if you want to send us your own shout-out video, all you have to do is scan the QR code right there on your screen or go to our website, kristv.com.
If part of your income comes from tips, your tax bill could be lower this year. But experts we spoke with said not all tipped workers are equal, and they may not see the same benefit.
It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips.
A major campaign promise is now a reality after the president signed his mega bill into law on Friday.
It's definitely going to be a couple $100s in our paychecks, which it goes far right now.
Hospitality worker Nicole Stokes says the new tax deduction on tipped income will make a difference for her, but not all tipped workers will benefit the same. The deduction applies to up to $25,000 in tips someone earns annually and phases out after an individual's income reaches $150,000. The exemption is for federal income tax only. That fine print could impact how much the new policy helps lower income workers, says Tax Foundation President Daniel Bunn.
Among tipped workers, those who are earning relatively significant amounts of income, maybe north of $40,000 or $50,000 will benefit significantly. But if you're earning less than that, you might have very little tax liability to utilize this benefit.
That's because of the 4 million U.S. workers who earn tips, 37% don't earn enough to pay federal income taxes, according to the Yale Budget Lab. Bunn says he also disagrees with a policy that taxes people on how they earn their money instead of how much they earn.
If you're a wait staff, you're getting a tax cut. If you're a line chef, you're not.
The policy change takes effect for this tax year and lasts through 2028. Right now, it's unclear exactly which tipped workers will be eligible for the deduction. The law says the Treasury Secretary will put out a list of jobs which normally receive tips to determine who qualifies. Avajoy Burnett, Scripps News Group, Washington.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Tuesday. So heading out the door, you're going to see a bit of some cloudy skies, maybe partly cloudy skies across your neighborhoods here in the coastal bend. Also, maybe a couple stray showers starting to peek their way in throughout some neighborhoods as well. Rain chances will continue heading towards around 10 o'clock this morning. Maybe a bit more heavier downpours possible throughout more coastal neighborhoods like here in Corpus Christi and other areas there along the coast. Maybe see a bit of a pause in our shower activity around midday before the help of that sea breeze kind of adds towards our rain chances coming in by this afternoon. We'll see those same showers begin and start for southern neighborhoods, then push their way further up north towards B and Refugio County specifically, looking at maybe potentially some heavier downpours, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder passing on through your areas by this afternoon. See those temperatures also warm up towards those lower 90s, eventually reaching that high temperature of 93 degrees here in Corpus Christi. Now taking a look at your 7-day forecast. If it wants to pop up for me, hopefully it does. It looks like it doesn't want to, but hopefully I can pop it up in the next few seconds here. Oh, there we go. So we'll see those showers start to dwindle on off with the arrival. That's Saharan dust that's going to push its way into the coastal bend, allowing for some drier air coming into the area. We'll see a big dip and hit to our air quality that's going to begin tomorrow, then extend throughout the remainder of our work week. Along with that drier air settling on in, we'll see a bit of more flexibility in our temperatures, increasing a lot during the afternoon. So it's going to trigger some mid to upper 90s, so above average temperatures as we end our work week.
From KRIS 6, this is 20 minutes of non-stop news.
Welcome back, folks. Thank you so much for joining us for our 20 minutes of non-stop news. I'm Brian Hoffman.
And I'm Michelle Hoffman. And we'll check in with meteorologist Julia Quady in just a bit. But first, the flash flooding that hit central Texas last Friday has taken an unimaginable toll. The number has climbed to 104 deaths across 6 central Texas counties, and dozens are still missing.
One question on many people's minds, could this have been avoided? Sunrise Neighborhood News reporter Michaela Chavez talks to Kerrville residents to see how they feel.
I'm Michaela Chavez in Kerrville, where destruction can be seen everywhere. Now, there's no outdoor warning system here in Kerrville, which has people asking, why not? And could it have saved some lives? It's a town that's standing still. Stillness, broken only by the sound of the search. And as the death toll climbs, there are questions about what more could have been done.
We will have a reasonable conversation about are there any ways to have earlier detection? And some of that, the limits of a flash flood, they're very difficult because they can arise so quickly.
That's Ted Cruz at a press conference here Monday morning. There were questions about why this area didn't have an outdoor warning system, a siren that can be heard for miles. Kerr County Judge Rob Kelly told the Texas Tribune that residents have rejected the idea in the past because it's too expensive.
When you can alert people with the warning sirens that we have, adults would have woken up and they would have gotten the children up. You know, that's the way it works, and that's the way it's supposed to work.
The National Weather Service sent notifications at 1 and 4 a.m., but at Camp Mystic, electronics aren't allowed, so the campers and counselors may not have received those warnings.
Everybody's hearts are breaking and everybody's looking for somebody to blame or looking for something that can be fixed, but I think sometimes we can't overcome everything that nature throws at us. There's just things that you can't predict.
For now, leaders are focused on what can be done before it happens again.
There will be another flood, there will be another disaster. But next time there's a flood, I hope we have in place processes to remove especially the most vulnerable from harm's way.
Now, volunteers and residents here tell me their hearts are set on prayer, and they hope to move forward with hope and strength in the face of loss. In Kerrville, I'm Michaela Chavez, KRIS 6 Sunrise.
While the highest number of deaths have been reported in Kerr County, the tragedy goes beyond that area. Lives have also been lost in Travis, Burnett, Kendall, Williamson, and Tom Green counties.
I'm Ana Conejo in Corpus Christi talking to a woman who spent 13 summers at Camp Mystic. She tells me how the devastating floods in central Texas hits home for her.
Dabney Pettis, born and raised in Corpus Christi, is heartbroken after Mystic Camp has been destroyed and floods led to a death toll of more than 20 campers. She gives credit to the camp for shaping her into the person she is today. She has high hopes the camp and the community will come back better than ever.
And of course, there is one other way that you could help Texas flood relief efforts. You can send your donation to the Scripps News Group and the Scripps Howard Foundation by simply scanning the QR code on your screen or text flooding to 50155. For more information on how you can help flood victims in Central Texas, scan that QR code you see on the screen or go to KRISTV.com.
A little more than 3 years ago, Nola Morales and her friend Ana Pastor were killed at a home on 5th Street. I'm Melissa Trevino, your neighborhood news reporter in Alice. Ever since 2022, the families have been waiting for justice. I talked with the families and the district attorney, who tell me there is a possible plea deal in the works for the accused killer. A judge has scheduled a plea hearing for early August.
Well, happening today, the northbound lanes of the new Harbor Bridge are finally opening up, right? Starting this morning, drivers heading northbound on 286 from Interstate 37 to Portland will be switched on to the new Harbor Bridge. That's Route 181 in the northbound lane.
Yeah, so if you need to use the northbound lanes on the Harbor Bridge this morning, we have the new routes covered for you. Heading southbound on IH-37, we'll take a new direct connector to access northbound US 181. And if you're heading northbound on SH-286, that will continue straight for northbound 181 to Portland.
And if you're leaving the Bayfront area to northbound 181, follow signs to an exit ramp from IH-37 northbound 181 Frontage Road. And if you're leaving the Bayfront area to southbound 286, follow signs to the exit ramp from IH-37 to the loop ramp for southbound SH-286. Got all that? Don't worry, there's going to be signs, folks. Drivers are asked to proceed slowly in the areas.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Heading out the door, you're going to be in for those same conditions pretty much that we woke up to yesterday morning on Monday. Still looking at partly cloudy skies. Things are feeling a bit muggy for areas that are along the coast, already waking up towards those temperatures reaching in those lower 80s. Further inland, looking at temperatures mostly hanging on towards those upper 70s, but things are expected to warm up and maybe get a little stoggy as we look ahead towards the next few hours here in the coastal bend. Today being our last day to see some shower activity here in the area before things dry up drastically with that next plume of Saharan dust arriving tomorrow. Right now, taking a look at those temperatures, like I said, areas a bit more warmer for along the coast, reaching towards those lower 80s, 70s for areas a little bit further on inland. Now, looking at our hourly heat, we can see things are going to warm up back up towards those triple digits by this afternoon and going to stay in that range all throughout the majority of our day. We'll see those temperatures reaching toward those lower 90s by this afternoon as well. Around that same range, seeing those temperatures potentially reach up towards those around 93 degrees, at least specifically for your forecast high temperature here in Corpus Christi. Eventually, that cloud cover that we're waking up to right now will begin to break apart a little bit, allowing for mostly sunny skies and a couple straight isolated showers coming in the forecast, beginning throughout portions of this morning and extending towards this afternoon, especially with the help of that sea breeze. Those winds really starting to quicken up by this afternoon. That's what's going to help our rain chances, especially for areas that are along the coast, and for those same showers to push their way further inland with those faster wind speeds clocking nearby 15 miles an hour by this afternoon. Looking at future tracker, we can see how these showers could begin to make their way throughout the coastal bend today. A little bit around 8 o'clock this morning, you can see some passing showers make their way through southern portions of coastal bend, mostly nearby Falfurrias and Clayburgh counties there. We can also see that by 10 o'clock this morning, a little bit more isolated showers spreading across more evenly around southern portions here in the coastal bend and going up further north near Refugio and B counties. And then again, by this afternoon, a bit heavier to more moderate periods of rain, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder possible with heavier downpours in Refugio and B counties by lunchtime and maybe a little bit after. Those same showers will kind of spread their way on out, maybe pushing a little bit throughout for inland neighborhoods, maybe seeing a couple shower activity or two before things wrap up as we head towards our evening hours. Things are expected to dry out at that point, and we'll see a little bit less shower activity by that point, and things will start to dry on out with the arrival of that Saharan dust coming into area beginning on Wednesday. And again, drier air is going to be associated with that Saharan dust, so you can expect warmer temperatures temperatures that will go above average, reaching towards those upper 90s as we start to get a little bit closer towards the end of our work week. Also, with drier conditions, we'll see a little bit less of that cloud cover, more sunshine coming in. That's potentially going to last for us throughout the rest of our work week, heading towards the early part of next week. So again, just a reminder, keep that umbrella on hand for today with a couple of those straight isolated showers before our shower opportunities wrap up with dry and hazy conditions on the way tomorrow.
Now, 6 things to know before you go.
All right, folks, as always, here's a list of the 6 things you need to know before you head out the door.
A Corpus Christi police officer and an alleged suspect are in the hospital after a shooting at a Bay Area apartment complex. The shooting happened around 11 last night outside the villas of Ocean Drive Apartments near Ocean Drive and Airline Road. When officers made contact with the alleged suspect, he began shooting from his front door. And officials say the alleged suspect then moved to the hallway and continued shooting, hitting one of the officers in the leg. The other officer on scene fired back, hitting the alleged suspect. Both the officer and the alleged suspect suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Once the suspect is released from the hospital, he will remain in police custody.
Nueces County is once again looking for a chief medical examiner. Chief medical examiner Dr. Rajesh Khan has resigned after just 14 months on the job. This video is of him during an interview that we did with him last year. Khan's resignation comes after his predecessor, Dr. Timothy Fagan, also served only 1 year before stepping down. The office has faced criminal investigations, a $300,000 settlement with 32 families, and questions about costly out-of-county autopsy services. County commissioners will consider accepting Khan's resignation this week.
A shooting on the south side left a 40-year-old man dead. It happened yesterday morning on Kane Drive, and that's near Everhart and Hawley. When officers arrived at the scene, they found the man. He was taken to a local hospital where he later died. And the suspect, identified as 40-year-old Kimberly Rodriguez, was arrested and is being charged with murder. The name of the victim has not been released.
Well, the Trump administration is extending a hiring freeze on federal civilian employees through October after a prior order was set to expire on July 15th. The freeze applies to some in the executive branch as well. Under the presidential memorandum President Trump signed on Monday, no vacant federal civilian positions can be filled and no new positions may be created. There are some exceptions, of course, for military personnel and jobs related to immigration enforcement, national security, or public safety. The executive office of the president, well, is also exempt.
The Department of Veterans Affairs is changing course and will not implement mass layoffs. Yesterday, the VA announced it will not cut 80,000 workers as was first planned, but the agency says it will still reduce its force by about 30,000 people by the end of the fiscal year, which concludes at the end of September. A spokesperson says the cuts will come through normal attrition, early retirements, or employees opting for the deferred resignation program. The agency says the cutbacks will not impact veteran care or benefits.
President Donald Trump has sent letters to the heads of Japan and South Korea to inform them of their new tariff rates. In Truth Social postings displaying the letters, the president said both countries will face a 25% tariff on August 1st. That potentially gives them more time to negotiate deals. In the letter, he encouraged both countries to manufacture goods in the U.S. to avoid tariffs.
All right, good morning. I'm taking a live look outside of our Skycam over top SPID. Those roadways are beginning to get a little bit more busy as folks get their morning started on this Tuesday. Now, again, things are looking to be pretty good. Even we can see some folks out there on those roadways on SPID not looking to be congested at all at this hour. Let's go and take a look at the rest of the traffic map to see what you can expect on other roadways across the area. We can see again all clear on SPID with that pretty clear, easy moving traffic flow heading on SPID in both directions there. All clear on Ocean Drive as well and on Saratoga. Moving on over to Flower Bluff, same thing, looking at easy and clear roadways with all those shades of green on Waldron Road and on Flower Bluff Drive. Get a little bit closer though towards the gate, NAS Corpus Christi, as per usual during the morning hours. You can see a little bit of a slowdown as you get a little bit closer towards the gate there. But then looking at our view, going to the JFK Causeway to and from the island, again, pretty much on all of our roadways this morning, I should say, things are moving pretty well for you on this Tuesday morning. That's it for Traffic Report. With details of your forecast coming up.
Well, it's a leading cause of death in the U.S. One person dies of cardiovascular disease every 33 seconds. That's according to CDC. But a new study suggests many who are eligible for medication to lower cholesterol aren't actually taking it. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to the lead author about the research and the reasons that some patients may not be receiving this treatment.
Every year in the U.S., about 805,000 people have a heart attack, and more than 795,000 men and women have a stroke. But there are medications to reduce the risk of both.
Despite the benefits of these treatments for high cholesterol, they're underutilized.
Dr. Caleb Alexander with Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health is lead author of a study that analyzed 5,000 U.S. adults. About half of those studied were eligible to take medication to lower cholesterol, but only about 23% of the patients who had never had a major cardiovascular event were taking the medicine to reduce risk of one. And of those who have had a major event, only about 68% were taking the medication.
These treatments include statins, which many people may be familiar with. These drugs are safe and effective and have been on the market for many, many years, but they're also newer treatments.
Alexander says there are many reasons people aren't taking cholesterol-lowering medication. Many are undiagnosed and skip yearly checkups so they don't know they have high cholesterol. Others may not feel they need treatment or are unable to afford it, and others don't remember to take the medicine consistently.
Tens of thousands of heart attacks and tens of thousands of strokes could be prevented each year if people were receiving treatment for high cholesterol that's in accordance with the best expert guidelines.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
All right, happening today, Amazon's popular Prime Day kicks off today. It's an annual summer sale event featuring discounted prices on thousands of items. The e-commerce giant is promising to slash prices in 35 categories, including electronics, kitchenware, beauty products, clothing, and more. Some of the biggest deals are on Apple products, headphones, and vacuums. Prime Day runs through Friday. And I think we already have some things in our cart already.
Yeah, I've been looking up some Roombas and whatnot. And if you were watching the previous hour, I did find that unicorn popsicle mold for Michelle, since it is National Popsicle Day.
But is it actually cheaper? Because I know it's very select items. So.
It is select items, yeah. So
you can't just be buying anything. You have to make sure it's a Prime Day deal and not just an item you're like, let me just buy this because it's Amazon Day.
Yeah. You got anything on your wish list?
Not from Amazon, I don't think. I need to be more disciplined. I'm card swiping happy.
Oh, you just buy it?
We have some improvement. It used to be to the point where I had my card number memorized because I could just type, because that's how.
That's an impressive skill, though.
That's not a good skill. That's a dangerous skill.
Impressive, though.
No. Thankfully, I don't remember it anymore. So I feel like that shows my growth.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. We're going to make them because we got to. Anyway, in terms of your forecast, we got some improvement on that note, too. Things are going to be a bit soggy throughout some portions of the coastal bend. This will be our last day to see some rain opportunities in the forecast today before things begin to dry out, beginning tomorrow with that next round of Saharan dust is going to give us some very dry conditions. It's going to last throughout the remainder of our work week, even heading towards this upcoming weekend. Right now, though, taking a look at our view from our Whataburger Field Skycam, where you can see things are kind of cloudy out there. You can see some hints of that sunrise off beyond the Old Harbor Bridge there. But again, a lot of thick and heavy cloud cover right now, as we still have plenty of moisture at the moment. That's going to help us out with our rain chances throughout parts of this morning and heading towards this afternoon, certainly with the help of that sea breeze. Right now, taking a look at our temperatures, and feel like temperatures warmer for areas that are along the coast, sitting right now towards those lower 80s. Feel like temperatures approaching those 90s throughout some neighborhoods too. Going further inland, we're seeing those temperatures mostly sitting towards those mid to upper 70s right now, waking up this morning. Looking at Doppler radar, we can see our shower activity hasn't really begun just quite yet. You can see a couple passing stray showers making their way over from the Gulf, making into throughout portions of Claiborne County. But again, stray showers at best right now. It's had a bit of a strong or maybe moderate to heavy downpours that passed through early this morning nearby the Sea Drift area. But throughout the most part here in the coastal bend, not really having our time to shine just quite yet. yet with those rain showers just quite yet. Expected again later on this morning, heading towards the afternoon. Before we go ahead and get into that, let's go ahead and take a look at our star for our dog walking forecast today. We have Smokey, maybe expecting a bit of a dry start to his morning for his dog walk, and he can expect that maybe throughout some portions of the coastal bend, but it depends rather on the timing of that dog walk. If you go out later on this morning, maybe around 9, 10 o'clock, you may start to see some of those showers make their way throughout portions of coastal bend, and also see our temperatures warm up towards those upper 80s and more rainfall activity potentially coming into the forecast as we head towards around 1 and 3 o'clock this afternoon. In terms of our temperature, is going to have an afternoon high temperature of 93 degrees here in Corpus Christi. Again, starting out cloudy right now, but eventually see a little bit more of those mostly sunny conditions returning back towards our skies by this afternoon, and still expecting those straight isolated showers, especially for northern neighborhoods, having a better opportunity to see some isolated to even scattered showers by this afternoon, especially between lunchtime and around 3 and 4 o'clock today. Again, pretty decent shower activity that could be possible for inland and northern neighborhoods, but all of us will begin to dry out as we head towards our evening hours. Things will start to dry up and things will stay on the drier side. And we'll also see that heat risk still sticking around our forecast today too. It's looking at that minor to moderate risk really hanging on strong towards those coastal neighborhoods. Going to see those higher feel-like temperatures in those areas. But again, today's going to be our last day to see those straight isolated showers in the forecast where things start to really dry on up with that next round of Saharan dust coming in tomorrow.
Alrighty, Julia, thank you so much for the info. And folks, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of KRIS 6 Sunrise. We hope to see you again tomorrow morning.
Have a great Taco Tuesday, everyone.